Hello everyone, RetroCon here. Social media. What is that? Some liken it to an irradiated war zone, devoid of intelligent life. Others, an inhospitable wasteland that will shorten your lifespan. In these bleak corners of the internet, you'll find advocates and proponents for just about every belief, ideology, dogma, and notion. Some of which you might have never even known could exist in our mortal realm of existence. So, color me surprised when I found the game that perfectly encapsulates the refuse of society. Today, we're going to be looking at h8machine, the hate machine of the internet. Developed and released to Steam August 4th, 2022. h8machine is a roguelike deck builder game with an emphasis on ridiculing many of the archetypical communities of the current year through the power of shitposting. In this alternate reality, the internet has been rendered worthless due to the proliferation of artificial intelligence. 99% of all content on the internet, from posts to images, is now a product of bots. As a result, the internet has been flooded with an excess of information, rendering it as useless as the Library of Babel. As the lines between reality and fiction begin to blur, humanity follows, and society begins to divide among tribalistic and dogmatic lines. Social unrest foments, and extremists arise, as isolated enclaves radicalize themselves in self-perpetuating echo chambers. Civilization is held together loosely through the grotesque amalgamation of governmental and corporate intervention. Mankind lives on a powder keg, and countries teeter on the verge of extreme social strife and civil unrest. Luckily for us, this is just a video game, and in no way parallels our near future. In h8machine, you assemble a deck of cards to fight shitposting battles against botnets of various flavors. Assemble a mighty deck of current and antiquated memes, and fight against perpetual victims, shitcoin peddlers, and janitors that do it for free. Your job is to downvote the bot into irrelevancy, and move on to the next scuffle against stronger opponents as you work your way to the primary source. When you first start up this game, you might be tempted to say, wow, there's nothing here! And you'd be half right. Visually, h8machine is a very straightforward game. The UI elements and cards are incredibly simple. The bots are represented as amorphous anime blobs, and the art used in this game is derived from AI-generated images that resemble grotesque abominations. As for the music, well, it serves more as a background noise than anything else. The text-to-speech audio clips fit surprisingly well into the theme of the game. Outside of that, there isn't much here. But don't let that distract you too much. The game has its charm, and the gameplay more than makes up for it. And speaking of gameplay, this devious little game is a bit more complex than first meets the eye. Much like foot fetishists, there are many layers of sophistication to this game. The main goal of this game is to downvote your opponent to 0, while preventing them from destroying your sanity. You do this in a real-time card battler environment, where each enemy comes with their own unique cards and themes. Even though h8machine can be played in real time, quite frankly, I don't recommend it. Pause the game and play it in a turn-based fashion. The dev was even nice enough to implement turn-based features, probably to appease simpletons like myself. For practical purposes, all you need to know is that each turn is equivalent to an in-game second. Each turn, the bot uses its dual NVIDIA RTX 3080 graphics card to converge its machine learning model on the optimal prediction. And, given enough turns, it will select the most garbage reply it can muster. Meanwhile, the player pulls a card from the deck every 2 seconds. As for assembling your deck, well, in this game, you don't unlock individual cards. Rather, you acquire cards in sets of 4. These sets typically contain cards that synergize with one another. A set, for example, might contain cards focused on being completely toxic and killing your opponent over an extended period of time, while another set might be focused on drowning your opponent in a mountain of feces. Individual cards conform to one of 5 emotions. They can be anger, happiness, love, sadness, or contemplation. This, of course, corresponds to the 5 principal emotions of man, which conjectures that a man can only exist in one of these 5 states. This formed the basis for the Eisenhower school of thought that has helped modernize psychology. I just made that up, by the way. Cards also synergize across the same type of emotion. For example, love cards tend to be focused around generating money, which can be used to purchase downvotes to destroy your opponent, whereas angry cards tend to be focused around dealing damage to your opponent at the cost of your sanity. There are also neutral cards that do not correspond to any of these categories. These wild cards do not cost any points to play. Speaking of points, each card has a cost associated with it. At the start of each match, you'll start with 0 points and 5 cards. In order to generate points, you must sacrifice your cards to the shitpost pile. Each card generates 10 points corresponding to its category, regardless of its cost. The real strength of this game, however, comes from the wide variety of effects cards can have. There are a plethora of methods by which you can take down your opponent. For example, one of my first wins was when I acquired the Titty Streamer, Thought, and Simp sets. This allowed me to amass a vast amount of money for my Coomers, which I would then use to buy out my opponent. Another game, I was able to get a hold of the Ponzi Schemer, Patronizer, and Alphabet Male sets, which allowed me to delay my opponent's turn indefinitely as I slowly downvoted them to death. There are even Exodia tier meme sets, as well as our other favorite online nuclear option. It goes on, and the 40 plus sets currently in the game offers a great deal of complexity and fun to the game. Aside from the roguelike mode, which is based on chance, the game also offers a constructed mode alternative that lets you assemble your deck how you see fit. You also have toggleable difficulty modifiers that can make the game more difficult and chaotic. Trying to play without being able to pause was an experience, and I'm never trying it again. Conclusion! H8machine is a fun little game with quite a bit going for it. The gameplay is also complex and keeps you engaged. It helps that the dev keeps adding more content into the game and seems to genuinely give a damn about his project. It's chock full of current trends in the internet and will probably serve as a time capsule in a decade or so. The only gripe I have is the audio selection. Spice it up. There are thousands of soundtracks out there you can use to add more variety to the game that are also free. Anyways, I give this game a solid H over the number 8. If you find this game on a discount, then I recommend it. You can get a dozen or so hours of enjoyment out of it, so even at full price, it's probably worth it. Alright everyone, thanks for watching, and have a beautiful day.